Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. My name is J.K. Menon, and I welcome you all for the launch of the African Newsstand. Thank you so much for being here and being a part of this fraternity. And we are, as we said, we are pretty happy to be part of the Africa. So I, J.K. Menon, I represent SG Interactive as a Vice President of Sales, and here we are with the African Newsstand. Why we did the African Newsstand is because we know the potential that the African companies now have in terms of coming out with the information and the kind of information that is the world is waiting for. And they needed a kind of a platform on which they could start working upon and could show up all those things that they have. And I'm talking about the newspaper owners, I'm talking about the magazine's owners, and I'm talking about those authors who write the books. So, African Newsstand is all about three things. You're talking about the newspapers, you're talking about the magazines, and of course the ebooks. Today, we are pretty happy to take on board 30 plus African newspapers, and there are a lot of them who are still there waiting for us to be asking them to take themselves on board. Let me just explain how our system works. Our system is pretty simple, in which what you have as an option is that you could be just a newspaper and who does not even have a website. We would take you on board with our own newspaper management system where you could create your own newspaper. Let's take a case of any of the newspaper over here. The first newspaper, what we have over here, and on this newspaper you could see that we can enable the newspaper to add their daily content. They can add their own PDF document for the people for purchasing it on a daily basis, or they could go in for a web subscription. There could be multiple subscriptions over here. You could see that if I opt in for a web subscription, then of course I get different options through which I'll be able to check the packages that has been created by this particular user. I have to, of course, log in to start working onto that one. And I have the options to purchase the web subscription, the phone subscription, or the tablet subscriptions separately if I don't own all of them. And on top of it, all these apps are available on the different stores. And in case if I'm looking at one newspaper, I can actually read that newspaper for free as well for some time. Now let me show you what is making that difference. Let's presume that this newspaper never had a great platform to put their own information in such a way. Now here we give them an option to pick and choose their own templates that we provided to them and add their own stories. And these stories would be in images. You can have the latest updates added on that one, and then of course you can add those top stories. I can click on any of those newspapers story and then can see the detail. Now I have two options. Either I can see this in English, or I could still see this in French. Both of those options which are there. So when I actually go back to the original one, that is the the French version of the newspaper, what will happen is that you would see all the information coming out there as that version. The newspaper has the option to select their own categories that would be displayed on their own homepage. Just like in this case, the user picked up the business news, and they can add their own advertisements as well. So it gives an opportunity for them to not just to add those information from here, but to add their own advertisements as per their choice. And of course, they could charge the money for that one as well. Giving you another choice, as a user, what we have is, not just one, there are many options that we have. As a user, I can see the popular newspapers. The popular newspapers comes on to from an algorithm where the most of the buying has been done for that newspaper or has been seen. That's a typical algorithm that a company would make up, a portal would make up, rather, I would say. And then you have the popular magazines, over here. So you can see that there are popular magazines, and of course the popular books. So these are the filtered out numbers of some of the newspapers or magazine where those are based on the user's choice, and you could see that, and it shows up for you. Apart from that, what you have is an option to check the plans and pricing, in which you could be able to see all the packages that has been created by these different newspapers and authors and magazine owners, where they could put together that their new packages for their own subscription. So as a user, I could actually subscribe on them by logging onto that one and using the payment gateway. So this is the web version of the application, and as we go further, I would invite you to log into our system, sign up with our system, and log into our system, and then use our system, and you will get to know how this whole system works as a newsstand. And then I would now ask Bertrand to show you how the tablet version works, and he'll be able to explain it to you, that the tablet version, that how we have been able to put together all the newspapers and magazines, and how we have enabled those newspapers on the tablet, where the same content can be seen anywhere, wherever you are. So that's why we say we have a slogan, or we have a punchline that we normally say that, okay, you access your newspaper on your personal devices, or you can read it anywhere. Thank you so much for your presence. Over to Bertrand now.